for my performance, what I was thinking about was mostly just being connected with Marta and kind of taking the time to transport our bodies back to the experiences that we had in isolation, as well as to be able to take those experiences and bring them back for the performance. I think that thinking wasn't really a big part of the process. It was more about being in a moment and having that connection. How do you keep that connection that has been developed over quarantine into a space in a world that we don't know, we haven't had the opportunity to experience yet? My life has changed in many ways, but my greatest change is having Marta in my life. So before quarantine happened, before we all isolated, I had moved in with a new roommate, and she was in LA right before everything really shut down here in Toronto. And Marta and I had just begun to see each other, and knowing that when my roommate was going to return home, she was going to have to really seriously self-isolate. Marta and I decided that we would stay together for the 2 weeks that my roommate would self-isolate. And the 2 weeks turned into 3 weeks, into 4 weeks, and it's just continuing all the time. So the biggest change in my life is this new human being that has shown me so much love and care and compassion, and consistently challenges me to be a better person and to be, or the best person I could be. And I feel really kind of blessed for that. During isolation, I engaged in a few projects with some folk, filming performative actions within the space. I tried to take a really great workshop about performing for like live cams or an Instagram live, and I really realized how little I know about technology and how much my performance practice doesn't depend, but is not, it's influenced by and really welcomes other people in real time. I often perform durationally, so it just seems like isolation is a durational performance. It kind of feels like being in the body in a different way. But I did realize that my technology skills were definitely lacking, and I was seeing some great work that other people are doing and putting out on these different forums, and I just was like completely unaware of how like this whole world works. So I feel like I've learned a few things that maybe I can expand my practice with. And even doing this, I'm not, I haven't played with video much, and this was really more about the action than the video. But it's just kind of, isolation has let me welcome new possibilities or new ideas of how my practice could expand and might continue to give something to my work or my ideas in the future. The most important thing for me to do in isolation, well, the most important thing that I did in isolation was fall in love and create this amazing connection with another human being and feel supported and loved. And because of that, that experience and that connection helped me reach out to other people during isolation. And I'm not one for talking on the phone or Skype or Zoom. And I think because we took so much time to be with each other and learn about each other, it really inspired me to reach out to some other folk that hadn't, maybe I will reach out to people and let them know that they're in my heart and that they're seen and that I love them. And that became very, very important throughout the whole isolation process. The significance of the location of the performance is that it's in the back alley of my space that I had moved into with my roommate. And it was my first time returning there after months being with Marta. And Marta and I were there all day, actually moving my belongings out of the space and bringing them to live with Marta permanently. And it was our last thing that we got to do after moving everything. We went back to be in the back alley where we were moving things through, and take a moment to remember what it was like to be in isolation, and that these processes of being with each other in very intimate ways can translate into any space. The item that I brought, I guess, would be Marta, although I don't think she's an item. A catch, maybe. No, that's so Marta, the whole work is about connection and slowing down and being with somebody. So the importance of Marta is absolutely so big, and Marta is so big for me. And I was lucky to have her agree to do something so intimate in a public space and give herself permission and myself permission to do that action in public, where there is a makeshift patio just down the way, so people could see us. I don't know if people were watching us, but it was definitely a possibility for people to, on this patio that's in a back alley behind a bar, to witness this performative action or this intimate action. the biggest lesson I've learned through this process of isolation, I think, is how to check in with people and how to support people, all different kinds of people, when you can't be there. Because I felt so supported and held by Marta, I really looked at how to put fears of seeing my face on Zoom aside, or conquer those fears, so that I could be with other people and let them know how much I love them. And it might be people that I had just met, or a cohort from my school, to be able to say, I love you. And the power of that is so important, and it transfers through technology and through a screen and reaches somebody. And I think that that's so important to remember to do every day. And even as we continue to move through other stages and start incorporating our bodies back into the world in new ways, loneliness still exists, and loneliness will never go away. And to continue this practice of checking in and letting people know that you love them is crucial to a lot of lives. And I'm really happy that I got the opportunity to learn and be shown how important that is. My relationship to spaces, I feel like my relationship within this home here right now has become so intimate. My relationship with outdoors has become the biggest shift. It can feel quite intimidating, knowing that there's all these other bodies and not knowing what these bodies have been doing, and where home has become such a safe space where I was taken care of. I could take care of other people through the internet and in reality, in real time with Marta, and now kind of like opening up the space into the world has become a little anxious for me. There's been some anxiety resting around that. So it's interesting doing a project like this, and I was again so fortunate to have Marta agree to do this project with me, because to take her with me is kind of having a grounding of the safe held space and transferring that into the outdoors, the wide spaces of unknown and newness again now. My relationship with other people in many ways has deepened because of the isolation process, because of being able to reach out and say I love you constantly every day. And then it has changed maybe with folk that I don't know, strangers, or people that I do know, seeing them. I know that seeing people in real time is very challenging, because I often, and I'm sure most people often want to like hug these people, and we're not yet, or at least I'm not yet ready to make these physical connections with other people just for safety. And then there's other people, and I think that I have to, or I think it's important to remember this kindness and love, because I think a lot of people are upset, and a lot of people are re-entering this world without love or support, and that can be very hurtful. And now they're entering this space with a whole bunch of other people, so this like anger or friction with other people in other spaces can come out as aggression, or can come out as like ignoring the rules, and that can affect me and make me feel very uncomfortable. So to kind of have this knowledge, or this idea to keep with me of remembering that these other folk need space and time and love, and if I can somehow try to project some of that, that maybe it might make this transition a little easier on myself and on other folk coming into this new world, and trying to support each other and show kindness and show a held intimate space for people in new ways. And it's going to be a challenge with an outdoor space and with new folk and old folk, of how are we going to hold each other and create a new environment where we can be with each other safely and respectfully with love.